We have with us Vijay Nair, CTO, Assyst International Private Limited, to give a talk on the topic Open Data and Open Government, bringing the government to the people. Vijay Nair is the Chief Technology Officer and Principal Enterprise Architect at Assyst International Private Limited. Vijay has over 22 years of experience in the IT industry. He has extensive experience in open source systems, enterprise architecture, compliance and CMMI policies, development and documentation, and business re-engineering. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you, and good morning to everybody. I'm going to talk about open data, open government, what it means. It's basically the next generation of e-governance. I suppose all of you are familiar with e-governance, right? Yes or no? How many of you use any form of e-government? How many of you have used any form of e-government? Any form? Akshaya, yes. If you have applied for driving licenses, if you pay electricity bills online. So let's go to the next phase. How can we interact with government? Before that, let me just some problem it seems. How many of you know what is open data? Have you heard of the term open data? Yes or no? No. Everybody has heard the term data, right? What is data? Pieces of information which we can make do with. Now, open data is nothing but data which is open for everybody to use. Okay? Yeah. Every piece of data is owned by somebody, right? My name is Vijay Nair. I own that data, right? I have so many pieces of data about me. My PAN card number, account numbers, right? Similarly, there are So basically, it's nothing but data which can be used by anybody. It can be redistributed by anybody without ownership. Okay. So it definitely does not include things which are proprietary. Some of these I will go a bit fast. I have left a copy of the presentation here, as well as I have sent it to Santosh, so you can get it. And so anything with security or personal, you have this PII regulations and other regulations. Similarly, a lot of data is not complete and it can be construed in different ways. So those kind of data are usually excluded. So you can have information which can include data about administration, statistics, economics, whole lot of database. And why is it open? Why should it be open? Because people have a right to it. People feel that they have paid for it. That's what we have governments for. Right? Government has got together such a lot of data, and it can benefit individuals, it can benefit private agencies also. So what is open data? Sorry. Data which is complete, it is available to everybody, accessible, on time. Actually, a lot of this has been open for some time. Say, for example, our government every year publishes something called as the Economic Survey of India, which contains about 1,500 different data indicators, pieces of data. How many of you have ever seen one of those? Great. Do you specialize in economics? Yes. Great. So, well, I have never seen one, because going through those 500 pages to look at some information that I might be interested in is very difficult. Whereas today, with the systems that we have, we need access, we can access data in a form which is open. So what is open? Open is like this. I can get it CSV, Excel in ready to use format. Okay. Machine readable. It is free. I don't want to pay for it. The economic survey, to buy the book, whatever it is, I need to pay. It is usable by anybody. I don't want to know all about all the statistics. I want to know statistics about, say, it might be what is the total exports from Kerala, or what is the exports of IT from Kerala. If I want information like that, I can find it in the economic survey, but I want something which is more usable one. And I can use it for any purpose which is allowed under the law. So these are the characteristics. So when I say use, what does that mean? I can open it, I can copy it, I can distribute it, I can do pretty much whatever I want. Those are the characteristics, and what are the uses? Why? Because it fuels innovation. How does it fuel innovation? How are people using it? In Africa, they use it as an app for farmers. Farmers can find the feed for cattle, milk prices being used in India also. In certain markets, the e-chopal, if you are familiar with, and how it impacts, the farmers get better returns on their work. Well, that's open data. What is open government? Open government is an extension to that. You have government data which is open, but this can be include a two-way communication also. So it's nothing but transparent data and a two-way dialogue. Let's see what that means. Well, open data is necessary for transparency in government, not necessarily sufficient. But still, since it is necessary, it is of interest. I don't know how much depth I need to get into this. There is something called as the Open Government Platform, which is something about 86 countries have signed up for providing open government services to their citizens or anybody else who is interested in it. So this, the Open Government Alliance included India and US as the key stakeholders. However, India withdrew, so India is not a signatory, even though India and US are the people who have drafted the core technical features as well as the standards for it. So, what are the challenges? Challenges include increasing the integrity of the services that are provided, effectively engaging people in finding out or in analyzing whether projects are on task, the money which is being spent, whether the roads in front of your house is being laid properly, anything like that can be done. So these are some of the key areas which e-government initiatives are trying to address. Health, education, different sectors are there, and so many different countries have agreed. 22 countries have agreed to open their educational information about education which is there. If it comes to defense, only 2 countries. These are some of the examples of what countries have committed to, which I told you 80 countries have committed. Say Philippines, their budget is going to be available online. If you look at Slovak Republic, transparency about their public procurement processes and public agencies, how they work. Like I said, I don't want to get too much into it, but there have been a lot of successes, lot of success stories. Okay. One key success story in India is the RTI Act, the right to information, where anybody, any citizen can ask for information about any task. Of course, so many countries have figured out. Like I said, one of the biggest is the US government, and US government started with the White House itself. The US president, all information about most of the things that happen is available from his site. I'll leave these for you to read. I don't want to get into too much of that. Again, UK government. Okay. Australian government. Okay. Why open government? Because it allows people to come together as community, and not just transparency, but also the competitive advantage for the country. How? Jobs. What has been seen in the US is that the apps economy, data which the data is used in applications, and these applications have grown to more than $500 million today from zero just 2 years ago. What are those apps? Apps which include finding out what is the crime rate in a place, crowdsourced information, or what are the rates to purchase or rent houses. All these private companies also come and use it. again, both supply and demand side jobs are increased. People who are creating the data as well as people who are consuming the data. Some of the estimates, so countries like Jamaica, small countries, Latin Caribbean, the estimate is more than $15 billion. For India, it is again in the range of $8 to $9 billion, which can be added to India's economy by opening up. But the biggest is the social value. What individuals, what the society can gain by transparency. For example, suppose there is a outbreak of something like say dengue here. This picture shows the mapping of dengue fever this is in Africa. And again, you have what are the medical facilities in that same region. By mapping this, it is possible for the people as well as the health officials to take decisions faster. Suppose you are moving from one place to another, you want to see, okay, which schools perform better. If you want to admit your child or admit, that's something which is key for many citizens who are moving. And this is again possible through similarly roads. Which roads have higher traffic accidents? Mapping of that is done. Interesting example, a radio jockey asks people to phone in and tell them about civic problems, and that is tracked. It is tracked by not just the radio station but the government, and they respond to it. So this is crowdsourcing of data and actual action which has taken place. Here the dashboard which shows that in Slovak Republic you can go and online and check which are the companies which are doing business with the government. You can find out about details. Today we face a huge problem with the roads in Kochi. If I want to know who are the companies who are doing the surfacing of roads, say just in front of Kamashiri, I don't know, I have to give a RTI application, maybe in 6 months time I will get the information. But here everything can be online. Again, one of the things, it is not just the citizens, it is private organizations which also make use of this newer applications. Okay, and a lot of it is driven by young students like you. Apps, the real estate information, okay, giving this Zillow was something, a company which didn't exist 3 years ago. Today it allows people to find out housing, what is the rate of housing, rent or purchase costs, and again open data at work. You want to compare hospitals, what are the rates for procedures? Today if I have to call 10 hospitals in Cochin to find out if I have to take an angiogram, what is the price? It will take me 2 days to find out. Here you can just do it. So the applications are tremendous, but again, coming back to what exactly is open government and how can we go ahead with it? Basically it means, of course, it means different things to different people. Civil society or activists, they want all inputs which they can get. Citizens want input which they can use to take decisions about something. Different policy groups want information which will help them to either buttress their case or to take further action. So, huge demand for data, but then basically it's something like this. You have a lot of things which are in the open, a lot of things which are government driven, a lot of things which is data. The place where all three, the Venn diagram comes together is open government data. You have some government data, you have some data which is not from the government which is open, and you have government specific data. Okay. What is the examples? So for example, in open data you get a lot of information which is not generated by government alone. If you have used something like open street maps, mapping, or a lot of Google data, the Google Maps which is currently undergoing a controversy. These are all contributed by people like you and me. So whether it is map data, whether it is data about produces, open data, government has a lot of data, whether it is about tax collection, about citizens, about your Aadhaar card, whatever, and some of it obviously has to be kept secret, some of it can be shared. That's open government data. So when the OGP, the Open Government Consortium came together, they came up with a mandate of how it should be developed. Like I told you that it is US government and India government, so it was based on actually data.gov, which is the basic open data portal for US government, and data.gov.in, which is the basic Indian portal. I would suggest that you go and check out these two sites at least, or other sites. You can get a lot of information. So it is a joint collaboration between both these countries, and what they have done is they have built a platform which is generic enough. Anybody can use it, any government, not just government, non-governments can also, private sector, or you can also download and play with the software. It can be, it is available both on the cloud model or in-premise model. You can use it. Sorry. It is, it's all open source. So how is the evolution taking place from things like India.gov.in portal, CMS which runs over it, the websites which are driven by this data portal, the CMSs which use this, and future modules from the Indian side is contributed. Similarly, from the US government started with something called Socrata, which is not really open source, but it's a open data platform which was there. Moving towards newer platforms like CCAN and open source modules. One key part is, I think I'm coming to that, but one key part of this is that for data to be usable, it is not just in terms of data which you can use in Excel files, but a lot of people relate to data better if it is shown as charts or maps. So mapping and geodata is another very important.
What is CMS?
Content management system. So basically for websites which are data driven, a content management system helps to develop websites faster. So I will not have the time to get further into it, but you will have heard of terms like Drupal or Joomla, WordPress, common open source platforms. SharePoint is used as a content management system. So you have content management, document management, all sorts of things. Because actually, if you see the data is not just pure data. You'll have to understand that the data that we are talking about is not just, as you might understand, as units of data. It can be anything: documents, pictures, images, multimedia files, audio files. All sorts of data is encountered in this. So the open government platform which has been developed is a ready-to-use solution. It provides a one-point access to all solutions, and you can integrate it with other solutions like, say, Google Map to map it, or OpenStreetMaps. So some of the key initiatives outside of government also which are there, like the World Bank, data.worldbank.org. They have data for about 140 countries on 8,000 parameters, 8,000 plus parameters. Data.undp, the United Nations Development Program. I don't think you need to write it if you can. Yeah, it can be shared. So it's, yeah. This is open data. This presentation is open data. Okay. And like I said, the data is not just text or numeric fields. It can be anything. It can be geodata. It can be data about culture. It can be scientific data. Something which is very interesting is the medical records. Medical records, as well as things like genomes, the DNA structures. Again, here there is some part which has to be kept confidential because it is private to an individual, but there is some part which is open. Financial information, statistics, weather, climate change. The other important thing about open data is that it is not just that the data is open for others to use, but it also can accept data from others. So one key aspect is that it should be able to link to external data also. So external agencies is an important aspect. For open data, what are the, I'll just move to a bit of the technicals. So what are the aspects of an open data project? Open data project basically has three aspects. One is collecting the data. How do you collect? What is the sourcing? Okay. So sourcing can be two types. One is what is called as crowdsourcing. You know what is crowdsourcing? Okay. Getting data from anybody. Anybody can upload the data or send in data by whatever mechanisms. Second is picking up data from certain sources. Now these sources have to be certified sources. So if you are picking up data, you cannot afford to bring from uncertified data. So it can be from government databases which are already there, data warehouses which are already there, or it can be from third-party sources. So technologies or standards like RDF or RSS, JSON, these are typically used to bring in data from these sources. But again, These are open enough, so almost any standards could be supported. Next, of course, is the data storage and management. Data storage actually has two parts. The data storage and what is called as data curation. Okay. You have to store the data. There has to be some processing done. The curation process is the processing which is done to ensure that data becomes in a consistent format. Why is that important? Because the data which comes from different sources can be in different formats. Like for example, if the Indian government decides to do, has a system where it gets data from each of the cities about population and migrant population. So Cochin will send an Excel sheet which has a certain format. Mumbai might send it in a different format. Chennai, it might be a third format. So even though, because it's not an XML, it is not something which is a standard which is there. Unless you give the Excel and tell them you fill everything in this and give it back. But the concept of open data precludes that. It says that you should be able to pick up in any format. So then it has to be curated. So data storage could be anything. It could be an RDBMS, it could be big data, or now there are specialized repositories like CCAN and RDF, which in turn might use RDBMS, etc. These are specialized parts. Then for data filters, there are a lot of JavaScript libraries which are available today, like underscore, the data presentation has to be, it can be Excel type of sheets, charts, graphs, geomapping, okay, whether it is OpenStreets, Google Maps, whatever you want to integrate with, web pages, download into different formats like XML, PDF. Now, again, for all of this, there are JavaScript libraries available. Typically, Recline or D3, open layers, JavaScript libraries are available. So, one of the most important tools which is used is an open solution called CCAN. CCAN is one of the most popular tools. What has to be done first? The data has to be openly licensed. It has to be, the data itself has to be available under what is called as Creative Commons license. So people can use it and reuse it. Next, it has to be made accessible, put it into formats. I told you CCAN is one of the popular ones. We will not have time to get into others, but like I said, it could be anything. You could build your own solution also. And tools like Hadoop or Mongo as big data repositories with tools like Recline or Drupal for front-ending, charts and mapping using Recline and D3, etc. Node.js is again becoming very popular for using this. And then you have to link the data, turning the data into information. So some of the representations, for example here, where does my money go? Okay, this is the UK government's information. For every pound, how much goes into different activities. Something like this, which is to the moment being updated, is what is so those of you who want to try out, the easiest is just go to ccan.org, can download the software and be up and running in half an hour. Okay. It's very simple, nothing to do. It's everything is there. You just need MySQL and preferably on a Linux box, but on Windows also with Segment you can run it. Okay. You want to try it out? It's pretty simple. Out of the box it has features for importing things like CSV or JSON format data. Display out of the box you can create charts. Okay. So it's very simple to start with. It has geospatial metadata search. You can create your own metadata. You can use things like Inspire or ArcGIS. Statistics, analytics, all of it is built in. For those of you who want to look at a more content management style to work on it, there is a version of CCAN called DCAN, which is Drupal. It is integrated with Drupal and gives you almost the same features, but with additional Drupal features. So if you want to add things like blogs, comments, etc. So here, these are all built out of the box from CCAN. Brazil or government. You even have a demo.ccan.org. Simple interface, like I said, to import Excel. Is just you can give a title, choose upload, and you're done. You can import from a Twitter feed. Crowdsourcing means from open source or from social media also. And then mapping it. Charts. A lot of charts are out of the box, but of course you want to build something which is useful. It would do bit of programming, so you can use almost any language today. PHP, Java, JavaScript, everything. Most of these libraries themselves for charting and mapping are based on JavaScript. So almost 22 type of charts are built in, and something like open source charting or open what do you call open source map, that's also built using open layers or leaflet, so you can create very interactive maps. So I don't know, am I on time or there's a lot to discuss, not much time, so I will leave you with this. Okay, if the government is going to be a willing partner with you, okay, they will experiment, even if it fails. Okay. So if you wanted one data set from the government, what will it be? And if you wanted to give feedback on one service, what would that be? Think of that. Any questions? I can take any questions that you may have.
Indian version of you said you mentioned something like this data is available to them. Is that the fact?
No, unfortunately not. Unfortunately,
this data right from the application, because almost all the governments are now
Not there.
Some back office.
Yeah. Now, what happens in practice today is that most of the data which comes from government systems has to be or it is transformed in certain way before it goes to the portal. Okay. Now, it's not just it is not yet there. It is not just Indian government, for your information. Even the US government does that, because they are not yet sure of what data can be allowed, should be allowed. So it goes through a committee which decides whether all the data is there. However, certain services are made available online. So things like we said, the real estate information. So the information which is updated on the server in the US, that is made available to everybody on a data set. So you can go and look, okay, if I want to purchase, I want to buy a flat, or I want to buy 5 cents of land around QSAT. Okay, what are the rates? I can go and look what was the last transaction done, or what is the last transaction recorded. So those sort of things, as soon as it is updated in the land records information, it comes to the site. But most of the information is not. So web services, if you want to know the current status, you can go to nic.org and see. So there are something like 80 or 90 web services which are available. If you want, you can incorporate them in your own applications also.
Okay. One weird thought. Stock market data is open.
Yes.
You can bid on that.
Yeah.
How come this to be channelized to gov.in? Data.
That is a policy decision. Technically it is possible. Technically, because you can bring any information, because the stock market information is also available as RSS feeds or as XML data which you can download. Okay, so those are available, feeds are available. So technically it is possible. If you want, you can create your own portal with from gov.in site and the stock market data and correlate.
But you have only file download. There is no streaming.
No, it can. The Twitter API I showed you is streaming. It supports REST. So any of it,
because Twitter supports them, they're just using the.
No, Twitter is one. I just showed you two. Okay, if I have to do we were planning to do a tutorial, but that was since the time is short, we can only show you some of the things which are possible. So it supports almost any REST-based data. So REST means today almost all data transfer or data communication is REST-based.
My gut feeling is this is only limit. Because you have to go by the RTI. Government is committed to RTI. You just want to pull up something.
Unfortunately or unfortunately, well, whatever be the reason for how it started, once it starts, it's something they cannot control. Because it's just like RTI. Okay, once it started, people have started flooding with complaints, requests. Now it is difficult to stop. Okay. So I am not going to look a gift horse in its mouth. Okay, whatever be the reason, but as long as it is going to be beneficial for us, there will be resistance, and you cannot expect everything to come online. But today you can see with e-government itself, such a lot of the services which are there, which used to take ages earlier to get my driving license renewed. I used to spend a month, go behind a agent and get it done. Today I can just do online application,
so
go there and
have
have
NIC.
Yes.
NIC based.
Yes.
Is this
So,
something different?
no, this is also NIC is a part of it. So Those are all different
A
agencies.
couple of months back, when the vegetable prices were fluctuating like this, my friend told me, okay, you can check it out with data.gov. It was not the current price. Something weeks back.
Definitely. That is actually to do with our data collection. The data collection itself. Today, Indian government unfortunately has no plans or no idea of the crowdsourcing for information like that. Okay. Some of it even you'll get better price information, things like e-Chowpal, which ITC has launched in a limited way, but the farmers' inputs are available. If you look at the daily consumer price index or wholesale price index, which is announced in the newspapers, which the government announces, you will see that you will not be able to buy anything at those prices in the open market. Okay, so that is a data collection
This
issue.
is for the competitive advantage, which we should say.
No, that is one of
the resellers use it for competitive advantage if the prices are older.
See, it is that again, that is a whole debate. I don't know if we want to go into that. We can take that offline. Data collection is a big problem in India, definitely. But there are other pockets of resistance. Say, for example, today, if you want to know about who are the people who are doing the road surfacing, okay, those are information which is not available. But if you look at the how it is going on in the world, it is a mix of the data coming from what government sources have, how they are collecting it.
Most of these applications, like these statistics, they have the current data. Why can't it be directly fetched from there rather than going to open data?
The idea is that open data is just a portal where all that information comes and you can put together, because at the end of it there might be a person who wants to see data which is specific to him. I want to know what are the prices in Cochin. I am not bothered about what is the price in Mumbai or Coimbatore or whatever. I stay in Cochin. So I need information which I can select and see, okay, how has it changed over the past 3 months in Cochin. Okay. That is where the open data part of it comes. Yes, all of it data is available, but earlier that data was just not used. Just to take an example, the CMFRI is the agency which takes care of the fishing, how much fish is caught. They have data for about 40 years, but they themselves are not very sure whether the data is accurate. For the first 30 years, the data is not even digitized. So there are challenges, but let's not expect the moon from our first launch. Let's first take off. I think we will get there. 5 years ago, if you ask me, forget 5 years, even 3 years ago, if you ask me whether e-government projects are going to succeed in Kerala, I would have said no. Whatever is there is a great bonus. Yes, we can do a lot better. Anyway, I think we'll stop on that topic. If anybody else has a question? Yeah.
We have to deal with the two kinds of data. One is totally unorganized, maybe
Yes.
story or collected from not a reliable source.
Yes.
Another is well organized.
Yes.
How many data stories there in two databases?
Not necessarily. That is why you have something like the open data platforms. It allows you to have both organized as well as unorganized data, and it provides you tools for data curation also. So both well-known data as well as unorganized data can be done. Okay. In fact, there is a term. This need not just be with government. It can be in small organizations also. Everybody has heard of big data, right? So, big data is when you have huge amounts of data, and of course, with government data, you have huge amounts of data. Most of open data, but there is the opposite also. There is something called as small data. What is small data? In every organization, you will have hundreds of different Excel files, which has lots of information. But everybody, I create my own Excel file. Next person creates his own Excel file. All of these are unorganized. And what if I want to get the data, the information which is there in all that, put together? There has to be a mechanism.
We have to extract it and
no, we are giving this is a tool which allows you to bring all that together, bring it into a common platform.
so one more thing. In India, most of the users are non-IT people.
This is for non-IT people. This is for because these are available on mobile apps. You have to have very little knowledge of this. In fact, even SMS based and what do you call non-IT IVR based channels are there. So I didn't have time to talk about channels, but channels for communication can be any.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We are running very much lagging in the schedule. You can take it offline. It's available during the lunch time. I'm extremely sorry, but we have to stick on to this. May I request Mr. Muralidharan, Faculty of Department of Computer Science, to hand over a memento as a token of gratitude to Mr. Vijay. Thank you.